Okay, so Italy were playing England in the final match of this weekend's Six Nations fixtures. They've lost 33-0, so it's the first time Italy have never scored any points against England. So that is taken a very long time for England to do that. And you can tell this is two very young sides with a lot of new combinations and a lot of fresh faces in their lineups who haven't quite got their combinations right. It was a very scrappy game in the second half. Italy were actually full value for money. Really, they really did test England in the second half. They did control the pace of the game. The scrappy nature suited the Italian style. England lost control of the game, lost their focus, and lost their intensity. Now England are 21-0 up at half time. And they've scored, three tries. And Marcus Smith's try is the best of the lot, in my opinion, in this game. Um, Jamie George, he's putting his hand up to say, look, I'm still a world class, starting hooker. Cowan Dickey. There's a bit of a battle there. Well, I think you want that as a coach. And Jamie George has a very, very good game. Not a single missed line out. He got his line out right. That's a weakness in his game, so he's worked on that. Cowan Dickey comes off the bench. The England line out starts misfiring, and that is something I've noticed from game to game with England. Is at around the 45 to 60 minute mark in that period, England's focus disappears, their intensity disappears, and their penalty count goes through the roof. It was the same in the Scotland game. It was the same in this game. Now the outcome is different. They win the game, and defensively they were more solid, but the penalty count is concerning. That lack of intensity, that lack of concentration, the silly errors. It is a noticeable trait with England sides for years. This is not just an Eddie Jones England side problem. This is a long-term trend with England that around 45, 50 minutes to about 60 minutes, that's where, if England are on top, they lose their direction, they lose their focus, and they lose their intensity, and that's where the ill discipline comes in. Now, obviously in the first half, they have a try disallowed for obstruction. And it is a frustrating penalty to give away. And that is where I think things were starting to misfire for England on a disciplined front. Even though they're on the front foot, Italy have made some mistakes. I mean, the Marcus Smith try is the best try of the lot. Great interplay, and there's a reason why he's in the side. There's a lot of fly halves Eddie Jones could pick from. Great fly half depth that we have. George Ford not being the starter is I think a statement of intent from Eddie Jones in this World Cup cycle. We're halfway through it. And Marcus Smith, he's rough around the edges and he's brilliant in broken play and unstructured play. And I think that contributes to his try, the broken unstructured play. Jamie George, totally perfect performance from him. Can't fault Jamie George today. Brilliant. Got his line out right. Got his calls right with his line out jumpers. Good in the loose, good in the tight. Gets two tries, fully deserved, on 20 minutes and 40 minutes. The Mario Itoje disallowed try. They had to obstruct the Italians in order to get their rolling maul to work. And Italy actually very successfully disrupted the rolling maul today. There was a period of about 20 minutes where England were battering on the Italian line and they kept repulsing them. And England were trying to figure out how to, from set play and structure play, how to break the Italians down because they couldn't do it. So there are things for England to work on. It's the second half where England completely lose their way. And yes, they get two tries in there. And Elliot Daly's try on 45 minutes is like the Marcus Smith try on 10 minutes. It's great interplay, it's great movement, great link-up play, fast ruck speed. And so that was another good try, but not as good as Marcus Smith's in my opinion. But then Italy take control of the game. And while they don't get any points, they really made England work defensively. England lost direction, they lost control, and they lost structure. And this is where Marcus Smith has fly half. You need that inside centre or that fullback who's got a good kicking game to do some tactical kicking and correct tactical kicking and maybe bring a bit more structure into the game. And that's where, with Marcus Smith at fly half, when you need it to be just a little bit more conservative for 5-10 minutes, take stock and calm things down, England lost direction. Now, Marcus Smith, as I say, great in the loose, great in broken play, great in unstructured play. But when you need structure, you need players around him who can also just calm things down a bit. And England didn't calm things down. They lost their intensity. They lost their focus. Lots of silly errors when they're not even under pressure. They're winning the game comfortably. Silly errors, lack of concentration. The penalty count goes through the roof. They got their team warning like the Italians did in the first half. And it was starting to get a bit worrying that another warning, there could be yellow card here. Now England don't get a player sin-binned this time, which did surprise me with how their second half went. The Kyle Sinclair try, I mean, look, the fullback should be taking that kick. It's a kick to nothing, and that's another thing with Marcus Smith is, yeah, as I say, when he's running the ball and it's broken play and he sees little gaps and puts little chips in and little disguised passes and great link up play. That's brilliant. But that was an aimless kick, and it gets a fortunate result from the fullback not taking it on the full and knocking it on into the England player, which then leads to Kyle Sinclair going under the posts. But England weren't doing anything with the ball because they lacked that structure, and this is something that I think the better sides will definitely try and expose. Now, Marcus Smith wasn't exposed defensively much today. I would expect, Ireland, Wales, France to target his channel. Definitely target his channel. If George Ford is the backup, that fly half channel is going to be targeted because there's no Owen Farrell there. And in years past, obviously Johnny Wilkinson or Toby Flood would be in that position, and they're pretty solid fly halves. You can also play inside centre, so they don't have that bulky fly half who doesn't mind the contact, who likes getting stuck in. Marcus Smith defensively wasn't tested today, and they're trying to protect him defensively. I've noticed as well, where they're trying to get him out of that number 10 channel. I don't know how long England can do that, because at some point he will get tested defensively. He needs to get tested defensively at this level to really build, him as an all-round player. On the Italian side of things, they were trying. A very young, young side, and of course the second half was disrupted with the Sebastian Negri injury, which looked quite serious. He was knocked out, absolutely out. So that's an unfortunate injury concern. He left on the Medicab, and of course Jack Nowell failed his HIAs. That's unfortunate for Jack Nowell because he is a very talented winger in my opinion. I like watching him for Exeter. He's had a horrible run with injuries as well. He got limited minutes against Scotland, and he got his starting place today. Didn't get through the first half, and that is I think a blow for England. They've lost Johnny May as well through injury, so England are having to look at their wing and fullback depth with injuries. I think England can be happy with that they bounce back and they've got a win and they've not conceded any points. So defensively, I think they can get the thumbs up, but that intensity level, that concentration level, and the penalty count is again still too high. Italy, they're trying, and their under-20s, beat the England under-20s on Friday night. So Italy definitely got talent coming through. It's getting that young talent to then grow into senior talent, and this Italian side, again, very young side as well. A lot of new combinations in there, a lot of fresh faces. It's midway through a World Cup cycle, and the second half did feel like a mid-season club game where there's not a lot on the line, and you're going through the motions. England need to, put in an 80-minute performance against the better sides. I think France, Ireland, they are going to be too good for England with how they're playing. And that game last night was, I think, the best game of rugby I've ever seen. They played with intensity for 80 minutes. They played with fast pace for 80 minutes, and that was a seesaw battle with fast pace, fast ruck speed, and not only off the cuff play in open play, but also structure. And that's something England lacked in the second half, was structure and just a little bit of conservatism for about 5-10 minutes just to calm things down. France and Ireland worked out when they needed to calm things down and when to attack with pace and with flair. So England, okay, they get the win, but I think, France and Ireland will have too much for them. Wales, they ground out a win against Scotland. Scotland, Jekyll and Hyde, as I say. So after 2 weeks, France are the clear favourites, Ireland are the second favourites, and then it is a scramble for third place, in my opinion, and a scramble to avoid a wooden spoon because, losing bonus points, try bonus points, they are going to prove crucial. And with the way Ireland and France played yesterday, I think England could come out second best in both those matches. They have to put in an 80-minute performance, and I think with how that second half went, they're quite away from putting in their performance as things stand. They've got to work on a lot of things, even in victory. I think you can learn more from a defeat than a victory, but there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts by, and I will have some more videos for you very, very soon.